What's happening, everybody? Thrylos International is here, and we're ready to talk about everything that's happened this weekend, not just for Olympiacos, but in terms of how the table is looking and looking ahead to Paok. Before we go ahead and do all of that, though, we have a face some of you haven't seen for a while. Lambro's back. It's been a while. He's been a busy guy, and he's back here to chat all things Olympiacos. Lambro, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good, Adi. Thanks for having me back. It's like I'm a guest on the pod. It's been a while. It's been really busy past almost 5 months. So no, yeah, it's good to be back. Good to talk Olympiacos, talk story. Yeah.
Absolutely. And we're going to get into all of that. But before we do, guys, just a little bit of housekeeping, of course. For those of you that are tuning in, about a dozen of you have jumped in already. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We're on the road to 9,000 subscribers on the channel. So help us continue to reach that goal. Every engagement helps us find more red and white fans. It helps boost the algorithm and spread our reach to everybody that doesn't know we exist. So please do that. It costs you nothing, but it means everything to us. And for those of you that enjoy the content and want more, you can support us on Patreon. You get extra content every Monday. We have incredible takes from the likes of your favorite Frenchman, Martial, every Monday. You get some of those. You can also join the WhatsApp group for just $1 a month. And I promise you, it's probably the best dollar that you'll spend in a month. I don't think you'll get more entertainment for $1 than you do joining the WhatsApp group. So go check out patreon.com/Thrylos7 International and learn a little bit more while you're there. We have a sponsor for the channel again, PureVPN. Don't stress anymore about streaming your football matches, guys. You can watch with security and safety using PureVPN. The barcode is in the top left of the screen if you want to check it out. There even is a dark web feature that can keep everything safe so that you can watch your football matches securely and without risk, no matter where you are, whether you're in a hotel, a public space, or home. It does not matter. Check out PureVPN for your streaming and football viewing security. Now, a couple of quick announcements before we get into the men's first team game. First and foremost, guys, the Olympiacos women, 5-0 win against Ethnikos. A local derby, actually, for those of you that are not living in Greece, or those of you that are not aware, it is a local derby, even though Ethnikos is pretty much nothing these days. But the women, their win today secured promotion to the second division. That's 11 straight wins. They have not conceded a single goal at all this season. 105 goals scored, 35 of those from Naya Benjamin alone. Amazing stuff from the women. Super excited to see how they do against second division teams next season. Maybe they will actually get challenged this time. The B team beats Banyoños 2-1 in the playoffs, the Super League 2 playoffs. So big win against Banyoños, who is fighting for that promotion spot. Although I think the loss today means probably Kalamata seals it as long as they win the next two matches. So we'll see how that goes, but it was great to see the B team go and get a pretty big win. And then our U19 get a comeback win today against Panserraikos' U19. They went down in the first half and they came back and scored 2 quick goals to take the win. They are now, I think, just a point behind second place against Panserraikos, and I believe they are 6 points. It was either 6 or 7 points behind Paok, who's probably the comfortable favorite to win the league in the U19. And last thing, guys, before we go ahead and start talking about the game today, the final Champions League vlog done by Costa, edited by Costa. It's amazing stuff. It is on our channel. You can watch it, relive the events of our final night in European football this season. It is amazing work, probably one of the best vlog Costa's done. He gets better and better at these every time. And there's also a video, a vlog that Costa did about the top 5 moments for the Champions League this season. Check that out. It's also wonderfully done. And share with us your favorite moments of the Champions League campaign this season. I know for me, the goal against Real Madrid, the first goal that we scored, I think I probably got goosebumps when that happened. I remember being so juiced watching that. I had the game on at work. And I just remember, I don't remember another game or moment this season where I felt as awesome as I did in that specific moment. So that was a big one for me. Lambro, what was probably your top moment in the campaign so far this season?
Uh, it's a good question. I feel like there's more painful moments that I can remember than happiness, but I think the first goal versus Real Madrid was pretty good, and then um, probably the winner of Eze against Ajax, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the Champions League campaign will make. I'll remember all the painful moments of what could have been more than the happy moments, to be honest, because there were just so many fuck ups. So
Well, we're going to get into that, especially with the game today, guys. So go ahead, check out that video and share with us your favorite moments of this year's Champions League campaign. Let's talk about the match today. Panserraikos Olympiacos. Panserraikos played like a team that is destined for relegation. They barely crossed half field, barely crossed into our third. They didn't even get their first shot. Forget shot on target. First shot did not come until after 80 minutes. We struggled to score. Their goalkeeper had some nice saves. And finally, El KAABI breaks his scoring drought. He had gone 9 games without scoring a goal for Olympiacos, his longest scoring drought since he first joined the team in the fall. It was from October to November, his first season with Olympiacos. That was the longest scoring drought he had, and he ended it with a brace today. 2 important goals to give him 20 goal contributions now on the season. Hoping big time that this means we're going to get El KAABI's scoring form again, his scoring streak back, because we're going to need it for the playoffs. A lot of the same complaints today about the game, with a lot of people complaining about the brand of football that we played. I think for me today, normally my issue is when we don't create enough chances. We can't get those chances on frame because our finishing sucks. But today, our finishing wasn't half bad. We had plenty of chances on frame. The goalkeeper saved a bunch of them. I'm personally, I just can't bring myself to complain about the brand of football anymore because it's been 2 years of this, and it is what it is. I think that with regards to the starting lineup, which I haven't yet said, I liked a couple of the changes he made. We've been talking for a couple of weeks that Andre Luiz and Gelson Martins have to be your starters every game now, just because they're the only players who can dribble one-on-one. Andre Luiz didn't look so good. Neither did Costinha. That right side was not super effective. Gelson Martins and Diogo Nascimento, who was starting next to Lorenzo Scipione today, he had a great game, and we were able to make some stuff work down that left side a lot. But the game was as we expected. Panserraikos parked the bus. They didn't look like they were trying to do anything today except just not lose, even though they were at home. And it was difficult to watch, but we got the job done, and we should have scored more today. Lambro, how'd you see the game?
oh man, the comments are already waiting for my comments. I think the first thing when you turn on the game and you see Alex Teixeira at 36 years old playing, my God, that is Greek football, Greek Super League heritage, fully on display. Like that guy is just Jesus Christ. Wow, he's old. He's playing striker. I didn't even know he played striker. I thought he played 10. Just absolute football heritage. I would say, they were one of the worst teams I think I've seen us play again in
The
the
worst.
table. Easily the worst.
Easily.
And still, the same things we've been talking about all season, just like inability to play through the center of the pitch when they were just useless. They were terrible defending one-on-one. Gelson was doing whatever he wants. And it was just cross after cross. The first half was honestly painful to watch again.
Horrible.
And I think, some of the, what matters in this game is what is going to come down this season. If we're going to win the league, El KAABI's got to carry us and score goals. Like, that is it. We've seen, like, with this manager now, no El KAABI, no party, man. Like, where the goals come from? They haven't come from anywhere. Adi, you have all the stats. Like, if El KAABI is not scoring
Well,
goals,
Taremi up until a couple weeks ago.
Taremi against, like, yes, mediocre opposition and whatnot. But anyway, but like El KAABI was delivering. And when he, left for AFCON and kind of went into this drought, just, we've kind of disappeared. So I think it's a good sign, El KAABI scoring. I still have major doubts that this team is good enough to win the title. I maybe the rest of, Paok has had injury issues. Ike has to play midweek for maybe the rest of the season. Maybe that's how we get across the line this year. But it's an awful team. And it's just, I haven't been on the podcast in a long time, but it is eerily similar to Pedro Martins 2.0. I'm just waiting for Maccabi Haifa in the summer, I guess. It's bad.
Well, Mike Skobakos, thank you so much for the donation, buddy. His message was Lambro with a heart next to it. So a lot of we have some asks here. Maybe this can be another Patreon segment for a weekly Lambro rant. Can we get one of those on Thursdays, maybe, or something like that?
Yeah, we could. I can try. Just I think Adi, I haven't been much on the podcast. One, because I've been super busy. Two, because how many people are enjoying what we're watching right now? Like, who hasn't been enjoying this season? Like, it's been super painful to watch this team play. Just awful football, like awful football. And it just takes the joy, like sucks the joy out of your Saturday watching freaking cross after cross going down the left. And you just Bruno Onyemaechi with like the worst first touch ever led to the second goal, his awful first touch. But like, just, it's so painful to watch. The team is running out of ideas, It just,
yeah,
it just feels like get us to the end, like El KAABI, like we need your goals. We need you to get us through the end. Even Andre Luis, man, it's like he's playing so good. I watched Rayo Ave games, and then you watch him come play here, and you're just like, how does this guy become so mediocre? It seems like every winger we bring in turns to a disaster as soon as they get inserted into this system. It's just like painful. But anyway.
no, and it's funny you bring that up because players have told us, and I'm not going to tell you which players, but players have told us about the system and shared, we can say, their frustrations with the system, right? And how we don't play between the lines, how the structure is. Wingers have to stay wide, you have to cross in. And you look at Andre Luis, and what was so amazing about what he would do at Rio Ave, he was given more freedom, right? He could do whatever he wanted. He would cut inside, dribble on defenders. He's got a very nice left foot. He can cuts inside and shoots when he gets to the tip of the box there. But that's not what Mendilibar wants. Mendilibar wants you to stay wide. And I think, I see some of the same people complaining about certain signings that we make. And now all of a sudden they're complaining about Mendilibar because they're like, wait a minute, this guy, Andre Luis, was amazing, was the best winger in Portugal. How is it possible that he's a Porto now? And he's not. The guy didn't just suck overnight. He didn't just like go to bed one night and say, I'm going to suck now because I'm at Olympiacos. No, he's a good player. The system he has to transition in. Gelson Martins, when you look back, right? Last year, he was our most productive, best goal contributor besides El KAABI. The finishing part, the end product this year has been god-awful in comparison. But what he does getting us into the final third into the penalty area is huge. Andre Luis is probably the closest thing that we have to another Gelson Martins. He needs time to transition, though. But I've been telling everybody, even to those that are the most hardcore Mendilibar defenders, it is not possible for us to bring in however many wingers we brought in, and they all suck. They all can't play, but then they all go to elsewhere, and they seem to do just fine. At some point, you have to say, look, maybe the system that we play is just, it's not a good fit for the modern winger or the wingers that we need and the wingers that we want. And I think people realizing that Andre Luis is struggling here after literally being not just a Y Scout ranking, but most people in Portugal agreed that he was the best winger in Portugal, especially right-sided winger. And he comes here and he just sucks all of a sudden. It's not possible. Yes, there's lower blocks, tighter defenses here. It's not as open for him because he was playing for Rio Ave that was playing on the counter. But still, the guy's going to transition. He doesn't just suck overnight. Part of it is the system. We struggled to score against Panserraikos for so long, right? We ended up winning 2-1. Do you remember how bad Ike, Paok, and Panathinaikos beat Panserraikos?
Probably by a few goals, I would assume.
Paok destroyed them, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's who we're going up against next week. So part of it for me, it is the system. And I think there's going to be some questions this season. I believe I've said from the beginning of the season, you're not going to fire Mendilibar during the course of the season. I think he will win the league. But then, then the discussion has to be had. Okay, look, over the summer, Mendilibar has another year on his deal. You have to make certain decisions and you're going to have a very tough conversation with Mendilibar about his player choices and about what he's going to do. If he's not going to change the system, which probably will not, right? There needs to be a conversation about his player choices because the players that he seems to want and the players that he picked, some of them don't seem to mesh quite well with the system. There has to be some give somewhere, right? And then at the same time, the club is going to have to spend money to get at least one or two decent players, great players, to fill the system if you want to go beyond in Champions League. The money will be there. We don't need an overhaul of like 15 players, right? We'll probably sell a handful of people, and you need to make good purchases and trust your academy. That's how it's going to be.
I have zero faith that this team can win the league. Like, I went to the one derby in the season, like, was it in October, where we beat Ike 2-0, and we were so bad. I remember this was when Luka Jovic was full on, like, 10, like, let's say 5 kilos overweight and was not moving very well. But we still played so poorly. Other than that, we have not played well in a derby all season. I don't think we've gotten a result we've gotten draws. We got like that Mickey Mouse penalty against Ike at the end away. We lost to Panathinaikos. We've lost to Paok, I want to say like 2 or 3 times now. Is it 2?
Yep.
They're gonna the only saving grace is they are injured. They are coming to our place next week. I'm fully expecting a Maccabi Haifa at some point. This thing is going to collapse, this house of cards. This team cannot get a result in the derbies. The football is bad. There's no creativity. Players are not happy. It's coming. This thing is such a house of cards. Like, you go to Ceres and you cannot do anything against Panserraikos. You're producing shots. You produce like 2 XG. But it's basically like the KAABI show. You have like a great cross from Rodinei, first time in 6 months, it feels like, and you score a goal. It's not great. It's not great. I just think I have not seen any evidence that shows that this team is capable of beating the other top 3-4 teams in the playoffs. Like, what evidence do we have that this team will be able to beat them? Maybe they will be distracted. Paok has run out of energy. You hope they won today. I don't know. But this team is just dead for me. It's really dead. Mendilibar's out of ideas. Chiquinho just does not look like the footballer, that was, driving the midfield like when he first came here.
Or even the beginning of this season. How many goals did Chiquinho score in the beginning of the season? And he also looks off pace. And he was a guy that I feel like was given more space and he was given more freedom last season than this season. It feels like all he does is run, press, and that's pretty much it. Yeah. Maybe there's a motivation concern with him, but you're right, man. I mean, right now with him, it's especially since the new year, it's been a couple tiers below.
And I like a lot of the pieces we have on the roster and the team.
Me
I
too.
really like some of the players we have, and it just pains me to be watching this sort of like the ball move through the midfield over to the winger, the fullback overlaps, the little interplay to get in the cross, cycles back out, and same thing. Like Jaquinho comes in to interplay to help, an opening comes for like the left back, and that's it. Like that's all they've got. And you would think, like after Pafos, like was that in August that they would figure something else out? Zero, zero creativity. And I think people have been yearning for Yazici, who comes in and like looks like he wants to play a little bit of football because they're so exhausted that they haven't seen anything in so long. Costinha is regressing, Musakitis is
Yeah.
regressing. This is like things are not going well. These are not people who have all of a sudden become awful footballers, I think. I hope.
Yeah.
But, you know, it just seems like he's losing the players because they're being forced to play this way and it's not coming out and there's no changes, right? It's like he's just saying they need to do better. They need to try more. They need to like he's getting mad and frustrated on the sideline. And it's like what do you expect? I just don't know. And the fan base has like it's like Pedro Martins 2.0, where people are like, you cannot criticize this guy because what he did for us in the Conference League and blah blah blah, and and in the Champions League we went through, and it's just what are we talking about? I like can we have eyes here? Like this is not all down to the players or by management. Look at the roster comparison. I was looking at the lineup Pauk put out today. It's like what they're playing Yeremeyev at striker in the year of 2026. What are we talking about? I don't know. Like the manager needs to figure it out. He's gonna like, and if he doesn't, I would take some like next international break. If we lose to Pauk, which I think we're probably going to lose to Pauk at home again, he's got to go for me because it's over. Like, have you seen any evidence? Have you seen any evidence that things are going to change? I think things would be better under a new manager. I don't know how much more better, but like this can't we just can't keep going like this. It's just awful. It's really awful.
So we get a lot of comments like this all the time, right? This is one of the biggest. This is one of the most common comments from Socrates underscore Nick. I see this literally every weekend when we play, and people are upset with how we play. And the comments, and they're all not all exactly like this, but they're along the lines of this. Socrates underscore Nick says he picked from a basket, Mendilibar, of players that are worth 4 to 5 million euros. Imagine what players he ruled out. Transfer fees have gone over the top globally. You can't sign an Olympiacos level player with 3.3 to 4 million. And unfortunately, we can't spend, guys. We are never going to spend 8 to 10 million on multiple players. We could probably do it for one, maybe two, if those are the only players we get in the window. But the revenues in Greece have not gone up like they have for other leagues. Unfortunately, it's just not the case. I mean, in June last year, Olympiacos lost 30 million euros, almost 30 million euros. So that tells you like that you're not working with great budgets. Sure, we have Champions League now, so I'm sure we're a lot closer to break even, maybe even in the positive. They can do more now, but we're not going to be able to spend. And Olympiacos as a club with the history that you've seen is not going to spend that kind of money. We have to buy smart. We have to buy players with upside, guys like Scipioni, guys like Santiago Eze, Lorenzo Pirola. We can find great players. We can find good players. For me, I think that the wingers that we've signed, right? This is the wingers. I think we can say that's the position where there's probably the most discontent. Would you agree, Lambro? The wing position is probably the one that everyone complains about the
Yeah,
most.
but I don't really I think it's absurd to like be look at the roster. look at the roster and look at the players at Panserraikos. It's Division 2. It's like Division 2 or 3 level team, like Division 3 in a different league in a different country, but Division 2 at least. Alex Teixeira at 36, Carelli's coming on at like however old he is your like backup striker, and just a bunch of nobodies. You don't need Cristiano Ronaldo to beat these people, and you can just watch the football. The football is bad. The manager's tactics are the same. Nothing has changed. It doesn't matter
Right.
about personnel. What do people not realize? The personnel has changed. You bring Strefezza, you bring Velde, you bring Andre Luis, you bring Martins, you bring Podense, and they all
We had
suck.
Luis Palma. Don't forget, we brought in Luis
Luis
Palma at one point.
Palma, all the wingers are awful. I don't know if I can believe it at this point, you know? I don't think Andre Luis is a bad player. Like I watched him play for
He's
Real
not.
Ave. It was like, I don't know. There's a few bright spots in there. I think Nascimento is a good player. I think Scipione's decent. I think they're going to develop, like Scipione today made so many stupid passes or like mistakes, like little mistakes in passes and possession, which was odd. But Nascimento, good little player. You know, it just
Again, he's for Real Ave though, Lambro. He's a terrible player. Mendilibar would never
yeah.
have picked him.
Yeah. I'm just saying though, it just feels like we can say it like the cycle is over. Let's win the league and let's do it. But it just I really wonder, do people in the comment section seriously think we will win the league this season with our like the way things are going, the way like we went to Bayer Leverkusen and everyone's like, we put up a fight. It like 0.1 xg. We didn't have a shot on target till like the 60th minute. Just those games against Leverkusen, we were so bad. It was just embarrassing. Just 0.2 xg. You need 2 goals and you produce 0.2 xg. Just awful. Just awful. We've been so bad for so long now. You know, that people just, you know, they don't even care. Like they just don't care. We got so lucky to beat Leverkusen the first time without Patrick Schick. They had like XG of 3. And then we played one of the worst Ajax teams of like the long time, and people think we did something in Europe this season. We dropped points with Pafos. We barely beat Kerat. It's just, this whole season has been such a disaster. And and this is the one thing, what Arispan says here, have you seen the other contenders play? Yes. That is like the one saving grace we all have here. Like we have Paok that's like
Ike is more miserable than we are. I've watched them play a lot. They look terrible.
It's like, yeah, there we go. Like the Cypriot League future guys like are just loaded up on those Paok and Ike. Joao Mario in the year 2026. Marco Grujic, former Liverpool wonder kid 2 decades ago. Just classic Greek football, Greek Super League heritage, as we were talking about. So that's the only saving hope. But we lost to Panathinaikos at home with like Topola, was that guy's name? Todoba, like scoring a goal. We produced like again 0.3 xg against them, and people have any confidence that we're going to win the league? Yes, they are bad, but we have played down to them this whole season. To Pauk, Ike, all of them. We lost the Panathinaikos at home against this Panathinaikos team. It's so bad. So bad.
I think
Anyway,
I think for me, at least, the way I look at it is, and what gives me a little bit of hope is that now we have no European obligations, right? So there's no more excuse for anybody being tired, rotating. You know, you can play whoever's playing your best, you play them. Everybody should be giving 100% now. Every game, you shouldn't have to be worried about fatigue or anything else with this. So that part of me gives me it gives me hope. And the fact, you know, you're looking at Paok today and they don't have depth, man. I mean, The good thing for them is they have some academy kids that are showing up, but like they just lost Kenny, man. I don't know if you saw Kenny's injury, but that was like, it gave me like the ugh. It was just the way he, yeah, no, I don't just thinking about it, it's like making me like start to be get nauseous. But anyway, they don't have a lot of depth. And then you have AEK and Panserraikos with European fixtures. AEK didn't have them because they were in the round of 16. I think they're going to drop points, and we should be fine. We should be healthy. We have the roster. Most of the players that we have, I firmly believe they start for pretty much any other team in the league. Almost every position that we have. I think one of the big issues this season, the way things have gone, is that we had an expectation for some of our core players, right? You know, Mendilibar wanted Biancon renewed. We renewed him. And he has looked like, you flip a coin, he looks good or he looks terrible. And then today, he gets subbed in, and then a minute later, we concede the goal. Like, that's been kind of like Biancon for most of the season. But our core players that we relied on last season, we just talked about them. Rodinei, Chiquinho, Gelson Martins. You know, Gelson Martins and Rodinei were your second and third top goal contributors. Chiquinho was your fourth. Where are the goal contributions coming from them? Nowhere. Rodinei has not been up to the standard he was last season. That's natural. He's getting older. Chiquinho, Gelson Martin's end product is worse too. So you lost all that productivity you had from those guys that you trusted and you kept and you were expecting to build off of, and they haven't performed. And it doesn't help that most of the other pieces you brought in, and again, I firmly believe it's because of the style that we play. They're not giving you, and they're not making up for what you were getting out of those guys last season. Strafetza, really only Mehdi Taremi is brought. He's the only one that you can look at and say, this guy came in and he has provided you with meaningful goal contributions. He still is our leading goal contributor on the team. So now, that being said, all this being said, Lambro, if we take a step back, right now, the way things stand, we've achieved so far the targets we set out to achieve. We wanted knockout football. We got it. Maybe it wasn't pretty when we got there, but we got there, right? The press, in some respects, has worked, right? It's not as effective as it was in the final third last season, but for the second year in a row, we are by far the best defense in Greece, right? We concede the least scoring opportunities. We concede the least goals. We concede the least XG, all of it. We have the most in Champions League. We had the most final third interceptions and high intensity ball recoveries in Champions League this season. In a single match, historically, we were the highest outside of funny enough, another match against Bayer Leverkusen by Villarreal. In one game, we had the most high intensity turnovers. So in that respect, we bossed ourselves around in Europe. But the problem has been the same problem we've had since Mendilibar arrived. Our efficiency in the final third, getting shots off from any open play, any situation in the final third of the penalty area, our accuracy when it comes to our shot accuracy. Do you remember last year in the league, we had the worst shot accuracy in Greece of all teams? What changed between last season and this season that made our shot accuracy go up? One player accounts for most of that. Who do you think it is?
Taremi, I assume.
It's Taremi. For as much as people like to shit on him, Mehdi Taremi is one of the major reasons why our team shot accuracy and our team efficiency when it comes to getting shot opportunities has been better because of him. He's been arguably the most and Yazici. Don't forget Yazici as well. The guy that scores something from nothing and gets 5-10 minutes a game, and yet he is our leading goal contributor per 90 minutes. 1.6 goal contributions per 90 minutes, Labro. Yusuf Yazici, probably the most mishandled and unjustly, I need to rephrase that. The player that has faced the most injustice on this team under Mendilibar, even if I don't believe he can play 90 minutes, even if I don't believe he can press, this is a guy that when you don't have a lot of other offensive creative pieces and you're struggling, This is a guy you have to use. You're forced to use him no matter what. That's the issue, man. And
Yeah,
that's what needs to be fixed. You have to lean into those guys. You can't just say, look, I'm not going to use creativity. I just want workhorses every day. Well, then this is what you get. You
yeah,
have to be a little bit flexible. And we have not been, Mendilibar has not been that flexible when it comes to creativity. And I still
right.
believe you don't have to make that many changes to make this work against those low blocks.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's just the players, his guys have let him down this season. Costinha regression, Rodinei regression, Podense just complete disaster signing. Um, you know, it's just a lot of those guys they've let him down. Some of these main characters in his system, Biancone, like you mentioned, he backed him for the renewal, completely let him down. So no, we'll see. Like who I you just hope that we have the game against Paok for me is really the season. Like if we go into the playoffs with only one win in a derby and it was against Ike at home in October, we're in so much trouble and we can't beat a Paok that is this banged up. It's over. It's over for me. Like it's over. There's no way you can win when you have to play those guys 6 times, when you got to play the opponents that you cannot beat, right? Adi, like
Right.
I don't know if you agree. The stakes are so massive this coming weekend. Maybe
Yeah,
not in the
another direct
final.
spot in the league phase, man. That's what's up for grabs here.
Yeah, so I don't know if you agree, but like I think this is it. This is it for like this. You need this game. You need to win this game. You need to finish like the president said when he went in there. You got to go 5 for 5. If we go 5 for 5, I think we're in a good spot to go win the league. But
Of course.
if he loses against Pauk, it's a house of cards ready to come down. It's over for me if he loses against Pauk on the weekend. So we'll see.
Yeah, if we don't get a result against Paok, it is going to be. Do you remember the meltdowns? What was it like? The first game against Leverkusen when we dropped 8-2-0, and
Yeah.
then what was it? Was the game before? When did we draw? Was it the game before Leverkusen? We drew, and everybody else drew, so it didn't really mean much in the end. If you thought those meltdowns were bad, which it was like 48 hours of like my phone blowing up because our comments were just filled of people bitching and moaning. You think that was bad? If we lose the Paok, and especially if we don't look good at least, or we don't create a number of opportunities and they dominate us, it's going to be it'll be miserable. And I will begin to believe that Mendilibar is on the hot seat at that point. I mean, this unfortunately, we talked about the core players that gave us so much last season not giving us the same product this season. Mendilibar also hasn't adjusted. Guys, he's not been in the league this over 2 years. Teams have adjusted. And in Europe, smart coaches, pragmatic coaches have completely adjusted to him. Leverkusen, do you think if this were any other Olympiacos, they're going to be more open against us and play us more openly, get more maybe higher intensity? But they saw what happened to other teams. They did their homework. Even Arsenal did the same thing. They're adapting. They saw what we did in the Conference League. They saw what we did in Europa League. They're not dumb. You have smart, pragmatic coaches this season that aren't afraid to be pragmatic, even if it's against the Greek side. And the fact that teams are now not overlooking us or just ignoring us is probably the biggest bane of Mendilibar's system in the end, because that surprise, the press, the high press of Mendilibar, that punch, giants in the mouth because they think we're just Olympiacos and they're not prepared for it. So that is such a big factor in how you get results from Mendilibar. And when you don't have that, and teams are saying, all right, I know what you're about. Come get it. Come to me. When you have a good team that can suck you in and actually hurt you on the counter, it hurts. And unfortunately, we don't have the speed to deal with a lot of these players. And even if you have a perfect press for most of the game, all it takes is one. These better teams need one chance to score against you. And Paok is no exception. Look, they played us like a fiddle last time. You know what I mean? Lucescu knew exactly what was going to happen. He prepared for it. They played us like a fiddle. And Mendilibar, despite seeing all of this, and despite the constant the things we hear about, oh, he's going to try things here and there, he hasn't adapted. And unfortunately, you can't just be a coach in modern football and not adapt. Formations these days mean nothing. Wasn't it Bielsa, I think, that said that? Because when you're in the game, you start the game in a formation. The game is all about spaces and counter spaces. That's how you have to figure out how you're going to use those. And Mendilibar just uses the same thing. He has the same structure, same approach, no matter what's going on. And that inflexibility kills you. There's so many things I'm thankful for with Mendilibar. So many things I think that he does do well and that reflect on the field. But you have to be flexible. You have to be flexible and you have to make adjustments because it's going to hurt. And I think Mendilibar's feeling that pain now. His lack of adjustment, his lack of flexibility is the thing that has caused us the most pain, I think, so far this season. And, there's plenty of things that we can talk about the players, but that part is probably the biggest danger to the title race and has been the biggest danger to the title race this season. I don't agree at all that we don't have the quality to win this league. We have very good players in all positions. And we can have the discussion over what scouting mistakes were made and this or that over the summer. Fine. I can have that discussion all day. But I refuse to believe that we don't have the quality to play better against Panserraikos than we did today, or to play better against Panetolikos than we did, or to play better against Panathinaikos than we did. I refuse to believe that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just teams don't even have to be good to counter us anymore. Like Rafa Benitez came up and set up so perfectly, and we get so frustrated with the time wasting and then the theatrics, and then it becomes clunky. All it takes is one goal, the low block, and you have semi-decent defenders in the air. It's over. It is over, man. Like, it's so easy to shut us down. Paphos wrote the book. Paphos wrote the goddamn book. Literally, score one goal on the counter, sit deep, three at the back, big defenders, and let us cross the ball. Let us cross the ball. And, if we score a goal on one of those 60 crosses, you throw your hands up, but it's very unlikely. And Panathinaikos scored like a Mickey Mouse goal in the first 10 minutes. And it was lay on the ground, set up, that's it. Like, even against, I think right here, bringing up the game against Olympiacos, man, we literally get a Mickey Mouse red card that was a joke. And Mendilibar said the same thing against Paphos. He's like, actually, it's very difficult playing against 10 players. What? Is he like the only person in the world who would rather play with 11? He's just like, oh, the dynamics change. The dynamics change in your favor. It's like the dynamics are very difficult against 10. Why? Because you can't cross the ball 300 times? It's the Paphos game, Olympiacos game, are just such an indictment of the manager this season. It's just so bad. It's honestly laughable. When we got the red card versus Olympiacos, I was like, we're not getting a result here.
Oh yeah, me too. The second I saw it, I was like, that's it. We're not gonna
get a red card in the first 5 minutes. We are not gonna win. We will not win. Yeah. If another team gets a red card against us, better chance of getting a result than if they're 11, according to Mendilibar, man. Like, we're in bad point right now. So we'll see. We will see. But like, I will come back next week. I will make my appearance. But I am very worried. I am very worried about next week. And I got a feeling Danny Garcia's got to be in the starting lineup, Adi. He's going to be there, and he's going to be double six with Eze in there just to defend our back line a little more security. So that's great.
To be fair, because I do shit on Danny Garcia a lot this season because he's been terrible most of the season. His last two games have not been bad. He's done pretty good actually the last couple.
He's up for renewal, I hear. Maybe he will.
Yeah,
he'll get that new $1 million contract.
Yeah, I literally had somebody I know sent me a message when I first talked about the Danny Garcia renewal, and he's like, you better, he's like, your source better be wrong. I would come over there and punch you in the face. It's like, I'm sorry. I wish it wasn't true.
We'll see. I don't know. There's just a lot riding on this next game. And it seems like every big game in the league that we've been needing for the past, since that Ike game, every big league game we've been needing like a statement win. Yeah. We haven't been able to do it. That Ike game, if we didn't get that, there was no way we'd score in like 2 games against Ike if we didn't get that penalty that Luis drew. It was just awful. So I don't know. I think we're in a really bad place. And I, I don't even know if it's worth it. Like, Adi, you're so good at analyzing stats and players. Is player selection even important anymore? I look at the lineup and I don't care. The only thing I care about is if there's a double 6 against a non-Big 5 team. It's just like, why are we doing this? But anything else,
I think
not really. Does it matter?
I do think that player selection is important because I don't think he needs to adjust much just for things to change the look a little bit. And it relates to this, right? So there's this comment from GS that I put up earlier. He says, the high press is good. It's in the attack that we need an overhaul. And the reason I say that I think the player selection does matter because against these, we don't play between the lines. Like we all know that. We all agree with that, right? Everything goes wide. It goes from Chiquinho or the midfielders. We go wide for a cross, right? We don't play between the lines. We don't like to go up the middle. All you have to do is put a guy like, whether it's, Yazici, somebody more, even maybe Podence, you put a more creative mind, not a Chiquinho, who I think is a very technical player. He's not a creative guy. You put one of your more creative players behind the striker, not Taremi, and this isn't a knock against Taremi. You put one of your Podence or your Zichi behind there, and watch how much more you begin to play behind the lines from players who actually want to be there and get the ball there. For me, the issue is Mendilibar doesn't want that, and he avoids that like the plague. So when people say, "Oh, our press is great, but we need to overhaul offensively," you're forgetting one thing. You're forgetting the preference of your coach, Mendilibar. Let's go to the left back situation that I like to talk about over the summer. We pursued 2 left backs last winter. Do you remember? But who was the other left back we pursued when we signed Bruno? There was another one we signed at the same time, and he went back on loan to the team we bought him from. Athanasiou from Atromitos, right? A player that everybody loves. He's offensively, technically gifted, offensive. Look at what he does when he plays for Ofi. Look what he did for Atromitos, a player that in Mendilibar's system probably could have done great things for you offensively. But Mendilibar picked Bruno. Is Bruno a technically gifted player to you?
Bruno is awful. I'm going to be honest. Or awful strong. He's extremely mediocre. I'll say that.
But Bruno is a physical beast. He has great physical traits. That right there tells you everything you need to know about Mendilibar. He would rather have a superb physical specimen with no technical ability than a player like Athanasiou. So everybody complaining about an offensive revamp, I don't believe that can happen when you have a coach that wants these players, because you need to have a physical beast to keep up with the ask, right? Rodinei still plays because for most of those games, he can do the running back, forth. Costinha is an incredible athlete. He can do the running back, forth. Chiquinho is an amazing athlete. Diogo Nascimento, everybody complaining about him, is technical, also an amazing athlete. Can do the running back and forth all day. Santiago Eze, amazing athlete. This guy ran 12 kilometers, over 12 kilometers against Leverkusen second leg. You have to be an amazing athlete to be able to play in Mendilibar's system. And he would rather have, if push comes to shove, he would rather have the athlete than the completely technical player that cannot do more than what that can't do the physical ask on a day-to-day basis. And that is inherently the issue you have when you talk about an offensive overhaul under Mendilibar. You can't do it because there is a certain level that you have to be physically. How many sprints can you do? How long can you sustain those sprints? How far can you go in those sprints? How many of them can you do in 90 minutes? What's the distance? How much distance do you cover? How fast can you go from space to space? These are things he cares about. These are very real things that most people don't look at because they just assume that every player at this level has to be an absurd athlete, which isn't true. Your more creative players are not always those athletes.
It's just poor squad management, though. The fact that we can't bring Ortega or Clayton on the squad list because we have too many. It's just like you can't. It's
Too
just
many foreigners.
poor,
Yeah, that's
too many
another
foreigners.
issue altogether.
Athanasiou, I have no opinion of because when I watched Rio Ave, I didn't see much. Like he was fine, but like I also just don't know if he is that guy. But he's also a backup left back who will play 5 times a season. So who really cares? That's my take. I don't know. Honestly, I just think the squad, there's a lot of talent, but it was built pretty poorly. The fact we brought in 2 Brazilians on deadline day, meaning that like not everyone can basically, like, you got Rodinei, you got Clayton, you have Andre Luiz, you have Bruno. Your backup left back, you having 2 left backs.
Foreigners.
Also, I'm not blaming Mendy for the passport issue. I'm blaming the club for that. But anyway, but the fact that you have 2 left backs who are foreigners, it was just poor management. And Martial, I will plug Martial. Like he always rants about this, how we need like more Greek squad players. Basically, I think that's correct. We need. People aren't going to like this, but Vrusai probably would be a good sort of like handy backup who can play right back and left back against these teams. Don't kill me, like don't shoot me, but to save us on the passport restraints, it's pretty helpful, but anyway, it doesn't matter on the grand scheme of things. This is nitpicking. So anyway, we'll see. Next weekend is the moment of truth. I think next podcast is going to be a big one. It's going to be pretty fiery. So we'll see. And I think it's always defend Mendilibar and the manager because he's so great, or fire him because he's awful with this fan base. So it's just I don't know. It just feels to me, and I will get hate for that. We are at the end of a cycle. Feels very Martins 2.0, where the football started to die in the second half of the season. And, the team limped along to the title because we won the title the last year of Martins. Correct?
By double digits.
We won the title. And we limped into it. We lost the cup embarrassingly. And it has a feeling of it all.
And Atalanta buried us. Don't forget that.
Atalanta buried us. It's not as bad as Martins 2.0, like at the end of Martins, but it's not super far off it either.
I see what you mean. Like the pattern, right? The pattern of decline you're saying is like very similar.
We struggle as a club to handle that because, the managers, if you succeed, it's so difficult to succeed as a manager here when we have successful managers. We are so scared of what is to come next because we've hired so many duds that we just you hold on. You want to squeeze every last thing out of a manager. And it feels like the fan base doesn't trust the owner, doesn't trust the sporting director to pick a new manager. And so they just want to hold on to this guy because they're fearful of what's come next, and I understand that. So anyway.
Do people not believe the coach has any say in these transfers? Like, I see so many of these comments talking about, like, oh, well, the club brought in this player, this player, this player. Like, you don't believe the coach chooses? Like, by the time Pedro Martins had left, he had total control over our transfers. I think people actually believe that the coach has no say, and which is not the case. Like, the process is it's the coach has the last say. There's only one signing that Mendilibar probably didn't have any say in. That's Remy Cabella. Every other signing he had his hands on. Now, he doesn't do the negotiations. He's not the one that's he's not the one that is making, the deals. He wants his players. Like, top of the list, was Mia and Carlos Vicente. And sure, the club didn't want to pay for those players. Yeah, but like, that doesn't mean Mendilibar didn't make a decision. Mendilibar picks his players from the short list. He prioritizes. We couldn't get Mia. Diogo was number 2. That's who we wanted. Scipione, one of the highest on the list for him, with Mia. Like, Mendilibar is directly involved in these transfers, guys. You know what I mean? Like, here's the process. I said this on the Transfer Corner. I've said this on Patreon, and we've also talked about it on social media. The process goes like this. Mendilibar tells the scouts what profiles he wants, right? I think Carapapas even mentioned that in the interview. Mendilibar tells the scouts the profiles he wants. For every profile, the scouts give him between 20 to 30 names in ascending order, who they believe is the best and who they think of the list who wouldn't be the best, from the top to the bottom. Mendilibar then goes in, looks at the list, and he says, yes, 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 nope, 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 yes, nope, and switches the priority, who he thinks is better. And then it's up to negotiations to bring in the players that he likes. That's the process. Mendilibar is centrally involved. He has the final say on all transfers and whether we even bring a player or not. This is the sequence of events that occurs. Just like that. Once you understand the sequence, the transfers then make so much more sense. And that's how it is. It's literally that simple. So there's a lot of conversations we can have about which part of the process maybe is not working correctly, but that's the process, and he's centrally involved in it.
Anyway, I think we're beating thing to death.
A dead horse here.
We're going, yeah. And
Lambro, we did a poll, by the way, about winning the league. Do you want to know what the poll results was? I
think most people think we're going to win the league because
79% think we're winning the league.
I have a bad feeling we're not going to win the league, so I hope I'm wrong, and this is like Pedro Martins 2.0, and we limp across. I won't believe that we can win the league until we can get a result in the Derby in 2026. Or, the team has not proven to me that they are capable of beating the upper half of the table in the league, essentially. Like, we struggled against Adi. Like, it seems like almost every team, like Olympiacos, Panserraikos, Aris, we have dropped points to everyone on the upper half of the table. So explain to me how we are going to go and win the league. That's just my opinion. Until this team can prove to me that they can beat, some of the teams we're going to be competing against. Like, yeah, prove it first, and then we'll see. That's all I got.
I'm with you. Well, Lambro, let's close this up. Give your man of the match coach's grade here. Who's your man of the match today?
Man of the match is KAABI and KAABI. And like I said, the team is good. If the team wins the league, Mendilibar is not changing anything. The only thing that's changing this season is KAABI getting into form and changing the season. I would also love to see statistics on distance ran, because I think he's not running as much as he did.
I'm glad you brought that up, Lambro.
Okay, well, anyway, and coach's grade, let's say B-, because he made good changes, I thought. So anyway, go.
So there was a stat we posted that I don't think everybody understand, and the people that did got upset with me for posting it. So El KAABI, among the strikers in the Champions League, was among the highest in terms of the percentage of his distance covered from walking. Was among the highest.
I just want to
Kylian
know
Mbappe was like at the top.
I would love to know distance covered to, like, let's say today versus this game last year. It just feels to me that he is not moving on the press. As I don't know if he's got a knock. It just feels like he's not moving. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm reading into it. I have no idea, but I bet you the freaking club has these stats, and they're holding it and they're looking at them and they're like, oh wow, wouldn't that be
And that's
interesting
what's
if the
going on in the
media had
negotiations.
yeah, and they're just like, actually, mate, you run 2 kilometers less than you. But anyway, that's all I got.
I'm also going to give my man of the match to El KAABI, even though I think Gelson Martins could be a shout because he was generating so much of our offense. But El KAABI getting that brace was so important, man. Like, we need him in form. That goal drought was horrible, especially when him and that Emmy are not scoring. Like, it's misery for us. So that was huge for me. And I think I'll give Mendilibar because again, even though my personal preference with respect to how I think some things should be done, he didn't do. We got the win. We made plenty of opportunities. I think I'll do B plus. I'll be a little bit nicer. I'll go that way as far as man of the match coach's grade. These were Socrates. These were not scouted finds. None of them. Just so we can be clear, so we can talk about what is and what is not. But anyway, guys, we've been here for an hour. Man of the match coach is great. Don't forget to like and subscribe for all of you that are in here now. Big derby coming up next week. We have Paok, and a win. I really feel like a win there will dictate so much for the rest of the season. You get a big win in a derby finally, I think then it's foot on the gas and we do what we did last season. I think that's the type of impact it could have. So we'll see what happens. Lambro, anything else before we go ahead and close out?
No, I'll try to be back next week. I think it's a big one. I really think it's a big one. It feels like we're at battle stations, We'll see.
Yep. We'll see. We'll see, man. I'm hoping the best for El KAABI, man. That was huge so let's go. We're back top of the table, everyone. So let's be happy. You know what I mean? We'll see what happens. 3 more games in the season. We need 3 more wins from 3. That's what the president asked, and hopefully that's what we see. Anyway, guys, have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. Only a game next weekend, so no midweek to worry about. So you get to, I guess, relax a little bit from football and from what we see on the pitch. Enjoy, everybody. This is Thrylos International, and we will see you guys again next time.